Hello there, people. This is the Storyteller, and today we are going to talk about James Bond, who is getting woke. Or should I say that James Bond has gotten woke a long time ago. Yes, it may be a huge surprise for people, but James Bond got woke from probably the second movie from the Quantum of Solace. Think about how you look at women in the James Bond movies, and you will get a clear-cut idea of how SJWism, or when was the time that SJWism really got into the minds of the crazy producers and directors of Hollywood. In the first Daniel Craig movie, you would remember there was a little very small swimwear scene, and that was all about it. That was the only sexual scene in the whole movie. But from the second movie, in which Olga Kurylenko was in there, in Quantum of Solace, now you'd know that Olga Kurylenko is a very, very hottie. So why wasn't she given any sexy attires? Why wasn't there any bikini scenes or any sexual images of Olga Kurylenko in Quantum of Solace? It came around in 2008 when there was no SJWism, but there was no nudity at all from the second Daniel Craig movie. So this is my theory that SJWism is not something that's totally new in its own, or should I say that this crazy third wave feminism is also not new. It is the same practices that were kept by ultra-conservative women in the 70s and 80s. These have been adopted by these crazy progressive idiot SJWs, and that's what we are seeing. That's what we are seeing in these movies. And recently there has been this news that James Bond 25 hires feminist writer to modernize film for #MeTooEra, says report. Now, I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised at all. From 2008, from the first time that I saw this horseshit movie of Daniel Craig, Quantum of Solace, I saw a really haughty diva who was completely covered with clothes. I thought at that time, what was the whole problem with little sexualizing women? Why is Daniel Craig's films are being so much cucked? Although the first movie and the third movie, Skyfall, were okay in terms of action, but the main punch of James Bond films from the very start have been sexualized females, but there were none from the second movie onwards in Daniel Craig's run. So obviously I knew from the beginning that James Bond is cucked. It is cucked. No, there's surprise in there, and there's no doubt that it will be a feminist crazy movie, and we should not hope anything good from this all these films. Even Bollywood movies have more nudity than the SJW cucked Hollywood. SJW cucked Hollywood. So there's this one angry gamer talking about this incident. The upcoming 007 flick doesn't sound like it's going to be a very 007-like at all. Well, dude, newsflash, from 2008 it hasn't been like it. From 2008. They are cucked since 2008. According to an article recently published on April 13th, 2019 over on Daily Mail, the production crew has decided to bring in Phoebe Waller-Bridge, a feminist cunty writer and actress who worked on the BBC dramedy Killing Eve. Pardon my French. Daily Mail explained one plot being considered involves Craig's aging Bond retired, now living in Jamaica, the island where 007 Ether author Ian Fleming, God rest his soul, these people are completely eating up your reputation, Ian Fleming. Maybe you should haunt these people, haunt this Daniel Craig, haunt this Jenny Tamim who is making these feminist costumes. Yes, this woman Jenny Tamim is literally going out and telling that yes, she is making feminist wardrobes for James Bond movies. So I'm telling you, James Bond movies have been woke for a long time now. The people are just realizing this. I'm kind of shocked that you're being shocked because this has already been out. There's also an article in 2018 about Jane Campion that I will talk about. They're bringing in this feminist writer. We don't exactly know how true this is, but if it does turn out to be the story they're planning on telling, then this is basically get woke, go broke situation for 007 James Bond franchise. No one who is a fan of the series is going to want to see a film where a stuck-up masculine woman asserts all of James Bond's style and machismo as well as his coding. Of course that is going to happen. That is going to happen, dude. This started happening a long time ago now, and somehow you people are just noticing this cucked SJW James Bond today. While managing to resist his charms, that's basically a retread of 007 Tomorrow Never Dies and 007 The World Is Not Enough, where Bond's female sidekicks were basically huge teasers that led him on while resisting his charms. According to the Daily Mail, they mentioned the 33-year-old writer is not enough. Seriously. A 33-year-old is probably a complete newbie and she's a feminist. She should not be given a prestige project like James Bond. But I'm telling you, these SJW cowards and cocks, they have eaten, gobbled, and they are chewing the bones of Hollywood today. And they will not stop at anything. Stop watching their movies. Stop watching their movies. Stop throwing pennies at these cucks. The 33-year-old Waller-Bridge is somehow an in-demand scriptwriter in Hollywood. And someone told the Daily Mail, the dialogue is sharp and brilliant. It's young. It's fun. It's young. It's fun. You're making a James Bond movie, Bond, who is a man, and you're talking about it's young, it's fun in a feminist writer's work. This is going to be the biggest cringe fest of all time. We know that. And it is all about female empowerment. Oh my God. It is all about female empowerment, this quote says. To be completely honest, if this is true, this sounds like complete and utter horse manure, he says. Horse manure. I can't think of a worse way to end Craig's tenure as the super spy than kowtowing his masculinity to the perverse altar of feminism. YouTuber Midnight Sage breaks down how feminism seeks to destroy the James Bond franchise. No, buddy, no, angry gamer. James Bond is cucked. It was done in 2008. Somehow you people haven't seen this. Ask yourself, when was the last bikini shown in a James Bond movie? When did you see the last bikini in James Bond film? Before 2008, in the first James Bond movie, maybe there was a little swimwear scene, but that's it. After that, it has all gone down. No amount of words can describe the sheer rage that any longtime Bond fan is feeling in the very depths of their soul right now. It's like a mother having a baby ripped off from her arms. No, dude. No. The baby was already gone and you guys were looking at some doll. Hopefully, the latter situation is the actual situation, he's saying, and this final Bond flick for Craig isn't going to be some feminist disaster piece designed for the Pound Me Too era. Nobody, it's gone. It's all gone. You're just trying to be hopeful, but let me show you another article from the costume designer Jenny Tamim, how James Bond's costume designer made the woman more feminist from Cinema Blend. It was written by Adam Holmes 12 months ago from April 2019, means it was probably from April 2018. When it comes to the James Bond movies, there are a couple of things you can always count on. James Bond is one of the greatest, best spies, British spies. He enjoys a good chicken martini, and he'll work either alongside or face off against a beautiful woman. But society has changed. Society has changed quite a bit since the first James Bond movie. Dr. No was released in 1962, and in the case of Bond ladies, what they wore in the early 1960s wouldn't necessarily work well in the modern movies. With that in mind, Jenny Tamim, who was the costume designer in Skyfall and Spectre, opted for a feminist approach and garbed the women in clothing that they would actually want to wear in real life. So this woman, this feminist, this crazy 50-60-year-old woman is now designing all the costumes for the women and cucking James Bond since Skyfall. She is cucking James Bond since Skyfall, and you people, nobody ever noticed that. Because you're not looking for science. Because we are only now waking up to the SJW indoctrination and cover-up and conquering of Hollywood. She says, under quote, for the women that what they were wearing was sexy but was something we would all like to wear, they were very feminist as well. I try to do my best to bring a lot of feminism in the sexuality of those ladies by giving them things we could wear ourselves. I don't mind a showstopper dress, but it was something that they would have liked to wear, and that they were not wearing it because a man was watching them. Oh, you shouldn't wear something because a man is watching. TCH. As Jenny Tamim noted in her interview with Sci-Fi Wire, the goal wasn't to make the women in either Skyfall or Spectre not look sexy. Of course, it was the goal. I saw all those films. Ever since Quantum of Solace, there was nothing sexy in those films. They were all about just mild action and how to show women gracefully, but to incorporate functionality and logic into their wardrobe. This is their dialogue. Not to look sexy, but to incorporate functionality and logic. Logic. You're watching a James Bond movie for logic. When looking at the outfits worn in past James Bond movies, sometimes it does indeed appear as if they were put together solely to satisfy the male gaze. Satisfy the male gaze. That's what they are trying to indoctrinate you. You shouldn't be using your male gaze. You should become an indoctrinated feminist construct added soy boy. That's what you should be. When you watch James Bond movies, you should be a soy boy who has been indoctrinated all the feminist constructs. There's nothing wrong with looking attractive in what you're wearing, but from Tamim's perspective, it was also important that the women were wearing things that would likely be in their closet. James Bond costumes should likely be in their closet. Thus, instead of making the leading ladies from Naomi Harris, Mankind Skyfall to Leah Seydoux, Madeline Swan, Inspector look overtly sexy, they come across as women in clothes you might meet in real life. No, I don't want to meet them in real life. I want sexy women. But it wasn't just the Bond movies, Bond ladies whose clothing Jimmy Tamim adjusted in the newest movies for James Bond himself. Tamim wanted the character to look less pompous. To accomplish that, she made Daniel Craig's suit in Skyfall and Spectre very tight. She makes his suit very tight because, like I say, they want men to show off their organs, and they don't want women to show anything. She makes it very tight so that he can move around more closely. Move around more easily. Now ask yourself, when you wear tight clothes, do you actually become faster or do you become slower? Can you tell me? When people wear tight clothes, cotton clothes, they actually become slower. If I wear a suit like James Bond and then try to move, it will tear up. More than 55 years after James Bond film series launched, looking dapper and debonair is still important for its starring characters, but every now and then a different approach is required to pull that off. At least not giving the feminist BRTCHs any role to pull off is probably the best idea. Daniel Craig will make the 5th James Bond appearance in the yet to be officially titled Bond 25, which we have already learned has a feminist writer, which is cucked as which hits theaters on November 8, 2019, is being directed by Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle is... There are all sorts of rumors that says that Danny Boyle himself wants to write a feminist movie. I'm not sure how are we gonna tolerate this. But I'm not gonna watch any James Bond movies in theaters anymore, and I'm not going to watch the cucked MCU films as well. Anyway, this is the Storyteller. Like and subscribe if you liked this rant. There are some links in the description about crazy SJW comedy books. Peace. And stay unwoke.